Follow News Learn English. April 17th. 1. A decade since the United States and Vietnam launched our comprehensive partnership, and nearly 28 years since we normalized relations, our nations have forged a relationship that is robust, dynamic, and consequential. Blinken. 2. I am here at the behest of President Biden to further broaden and deepen that partnership following the President's call with the General Secretary last month and building on earlier high-level visits, including from Vice President Harris, Secretary of Defense Austin, U.S. 3. So for us, for President Biden, for Washington, this is one of the most dynamic and one of the most important relationships we've had. It's had a remarkable trajectory over the last couple of decades. Our conviction is that it can and will grow even stronger in the decades ahead. Thank you.
4. The U.S. warship USS Milius sailed through the Taiwan Strait on Sunday, in what the U.S. The Navy described on Monday as a routine transit, just days after China ended its latest war games around the island. 5. British Prime Minister Rishi Sunak is being investigated by Parliament's standards watchdog over whether he properly declared his wife's shareholding in a childcare company which stands to benefit from new government policy. 6. Kyiv aims to reopen food and grain transit via Poland as a first step to ending import bans at talks that began in Warsaw on Monday as countries halted grain from Ukraine to protect their local agriculture markets.
7. The launch of Starship, which is considered to be the most powerful rocket in the world, was cancelled by SpaceX due to a technical problem, resulting in the rocket remaining on its launch pad. 8. The highly anticipated season finale for Love is Blind on Netflix was set to stream live Sunday night but was faced with technical difficulties resulting in an over-hour-long delay and angry fans. 9. The power of money. During his visit to China, Brazilian President Lula, a football powerhouse in the world, talked to CCTV about his interest in Chinese football, saying that he often watches the Chinese League One football matches. 10. When China ended a lengthy border closure in January, e-commerce marketer Tianyi Ren immediately began planning a team-building trip for her 14 staff to Australia, hoping to see its stunning pink salt lakes that had captivated her on social media. Follow News Learn English. April 18th. 1. By rejecting this bill, President Biden is prioritizing the interests of a minority group over women, who make up 51% of the population. The president's decision indicates a disregard for science, truth, and logic. 2. Russian President Vladimir Putin says the West is trying to finish his country. The Biden administration denies the accusation. But leaked documents reveal the extent of U.S. involvement in the Ukraine fight. 3. The U.S. military recently warned that the Biden administration's plans to develop offshore wind farms could make it difficult for them to carry out their naval operations.
4. How DeSantis became Florida's most powerful governor in a generation. DeSantis wants to make America Florida. Here's what that looks like. 5. Kremlin critic Vladimir was jailed for 25 years by a Moscow court on Monday, the harshest sentence of its kind since Russia invaded Ukraine, after being convicted of treason and other offenses in a trial he said was politically motivated. 6. Ahead of his meeting with Brazilian President Lula, Russian Foreign Minister Lavrov expressed gratitude to Brazil for its efforts to bring about a resolution to the conflict in Ukraine, which has caused unease in Washington due to Lula's comments on the war. 7. Apple and Alphabet have raised concerns with Amazon.com after learning that sexually explicit photographs could be accessed by children on the popular Kindle app and called on Amazon to strengthen its content moderation.
8. Billionaire Elon Musk said on Monday he will launch an artificial intelligence (AI) platform that he calls TruthGPT to challenge the offerings from Microsoft and Google. 9. King Charles's coronation. King Charles and his wife Camilla will be crowned on May 6 at London's Westminster Abbey. Royal experts believe Prince Harry will be sidelined by the royal family during his visit. 10. Justices will decide by midnight Wednesday whether to maintain full access to the abortion drug mifepristone while Judge Matthew Kaczmarek's ruling is appealed. Follow News Learn English. April 19. 1. When Robert F. Kennedy's son, Kennedy, announced his bid for the presidency earlier this month, 14% of Biden's 2020 voters pledged their support to him. 2. Kevin McCarthy will become the second House Speaker to give an address before Israel's Knesset since 1998, after he was invited to do so by Knesset Speaker Amir Ohana. 3. On Wednesday, Mexico's president criticized the country's Supreme Court, comparing the justices who blocked his proposal to transfer the National Guard's authority from civilians to the army to a former minister who was found guilty of accepting bribes from a drug cartel.
4. Ukrainian President Zelensky inspected the frontier with Belarus and Poland on Wednesday, April 19, and thanked border guards for their defense of the country since Russia's invasion. 5. French President Emmanuel Macron faced protests during his first public appearance since he approved the controversial increase in the retirement age, with demonstrators booing and demanding his resignation. 6. Britain's government on Wednesday published an updated list of ministers' interests, including an outline of the affairs of Prime Minister Rishi Sunak, who is under investigation over whether he properly declared his wife's shareholdings.
7. Tesla cut prices for some of its Model Y and Model 3 vehicles in the U.S. for the sixth time this year to juice demand as competition among electric vehicle makers heats up around the world. 8. During an interview on Tucker Carlson Tonight, Twitter CEO Elon Musk discussed his views on inflation and the current banking crisis, stating that he believes inflation is inevitable.
9. German car manufacturers are making a strong appearance at the Shanghai Auto Show, as they compete to remain ahead of consumer trends in China, which will determine whether they can continue to dominate the market for electric vehicles both domestically and internationally. 10. Rejecting roles in Ocean's 11. That said, some people did say no to us. Some very famous people told us to F right off. Mark Wahlberg, Johnny Depp. There were others. They regret it now. I regret doing FING Batman, Clooney said during an interview. Follow News Learn English. April 20th. 1. A spaceship called Starship launched and was successful, but a few minutes later it exploded. Elon Musk, the person who made the spaceship, wants to use it for missions in deep space. Before the launch, he said there were many technical challenges and risks involved.
2. Lawmakers are asking the Biden administration to be more open and honest about an investigation into Hunter Biden, the son of the president, after someone from the IRS, the organization that collects taxes in the U.S., who raised concerns about the way the investigation is being handled. 3. The House on Thursday passed legislation aimed at preventing biological males from competing as transgender athletes in girls' and women's sports at schools across the country, after a debate in which several Democrats accused Republicans of bullying transgender students by calling up the bill.
4. Former President Donald Trump still commands the support of a significant share of conservative Christian voters, Reuters interviews with evangelical leaders and opinion polls show, but a window of opportunity remains for a challenger to peel some of that support away. 5. The people who want to be the next president of the United States are having a hard time deciding what they think about abortion because they see signs that most people in the country disagree with Republicans on this issue. 6. White House Press Secretary Karine on Thursday appeared visibly angry as she argued with a reporter about President Biden's role in the budget.
7. Ice cream giveaway at Shanghai Auto Show lands BMW in sticky situation. 8. At the funeral of Paul O'Grady, the host of the TV show, For the Love of Dogs, hundreds of his fans and their dogs gathered to bid him farewell.
9. The CEO of MyPillow, Mike Lindell, who is known for spreading false information about the 2020 U.S. presidential election, promised to give a large sum of money to anyone who could prove him wrong. However, a court has now ordered him to pay $5 million to an expert who was able to disprove his claims about the election. Learned a lot for the next test launch in a few months.
Follow News Learn English. April 21st. 1. President Biden joked during a Friday speech that he is a very dull president, only known for his sunglasses and chocolate chip ice cream. 2. The State Department on Friday refused to answer questions about a claim from a former CIA official that Antony Blinken led efforts in 2020 to have intelligence officials write a letter that said the Hunter Biden laptop story was part of a Russian disinformation campaign. 3. The Department of Justice has reached agreements with several oil and gas companies that were reportedly not properly controlling leaks that could harm the environment. These settlements are worth millions of dollars.
4. The people in charge of managing fish and other marine resources, who were put there by the government, told the Biden White House last summer that they were concerned about how wind energy development could harm these resources. 5. Supporters of Florida Governor DeSantis are getting ready to show their financial strength as the governor seeks to overcome some initial challenges. 6. It is wrong to teach a second grader that they may have been born in the wrong body. It is wrong to teach students that gender is a choice, and we don't allow that in Florida.
7. California hillsides are exploding with wildflowers after epic rainfall. The wildflower takeover is dominating hillsides so intensely that the blooms are visible from space. 8. The arrests related to a suspected secret Chinese police station have escalated tensions between Washington and Beijing.
9. The Kremlin is attempting to create an anti-war alliance in Germany, as revealed by a collection of Russian documents reviewed by the Post. The goal is to unite the far right and far left in Germany, according to these documents. 10. Residents of Belgorod were shaken by a dramatic blast that is believed to have been caused by an accidental airstrike involving a Russian fighter bomber which released ammunition over the city. Follow News Learn English. April 22nd. 1. The Biden administration is being accused of ignoring anarchists and violent far-left extremists who are targeting law enforcement and first responders in Atlanta, who are working to address the rise in crime across the country.
2. Vice President Kamala Harris announced on Friday that the Department of Commerce has suggested providing $562 million in funding to help communities become more resilient to the effects of climate change. 3. The U.S. Supreme Court has made a decision to preserve access to a drug called mifepristone, which is used for abortion. This means that for now, access to the drug will not be changed. 4. Congress is facing a ticking time bomb, and as each tick on the clock grows louder, the negotiations will increasingly overshadow anything else happening on Capitol Hill.
5. The Department of Homeland Security announced on Friday that it has created a team to investigate how artificial intelligence, AI, could be used in the detection of fentanyl shipments. 6. Lawyers representing Hunter Biden will meet with officials from the Department of Justice next week as part of the ongoing federal investigation into his taxes and other matters. 7. A group that supports Donald Trump attempted to criticize Florida Governor Ron DeSantis with an ad that focused on his eating habits, but it was considered distasteful. Another group that supports DeSantis responded with an ad questioning why Trump was targeting him.
8. Republican federal and state lawmakers, governors, and attorneys general are pushing back on growing efforts by investors and executives to include environmental, social and governance factors in their business decision-making. 9. On Friday, the Russian Defense Ministry stated that their assault troops were currently fighting in the western areas of Bakhmut, which is the last section of the Ukrainian city still controlled by Kiev's forces.
10. Chris Evans and Ana de Armas is about all that's required to make the sales pitch for Ghosted, a spirited if familiar action-based romantic comedy, where the sparring banter generally outshines the muscular stunts.